Welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's from a rapper, John 11. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
You said by rapper you mean some guy from the Bible that...
Well, yeah, he wrote one of the books in the Bible.
Right. But that did
the
rhyme.
Book of John. It did kind of rhyme, yeah. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I guess if you're rhyming the word God with God and the word with word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, isn't that... that is just... obviously, this is in light of this whole Paris business. We're going to delve straight in.
Oh, God. Okay.
Like that... Honestly, that sentence is gobbledygook, right? That's the definition of gobbledygook. It doesn't make any sense. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was the God. It doesn't make any sense. It's been translated, mistranslated, retranslated, edited. It's reached the point now where it now is the definition of gobbledygook. Mm-hmm. And then there are these people out there taking all this shit seriously because they're so afraid of dying that they take this shit so seriously that they then kill themselves in the name of it. It boggles the mind and it pisses me off. And good luck. I mean, obviously, what happened in Paris is not... It's politically motivated still. There are higher powers and people that are, pulling the strings and telling these religious nuts what to do. But the thing is that you couldn't do that stuff without the power of religion. Good luck getting a secular humanist to go and blow himself up for your political bullshit.
Well, I have to disagree with you right off the bat there.
It does happen, but crazy comes in all shapes and colours and creeds. But like, pretty much, look at all the terrorist attacks. They've all got religion.
Yeah, but they're using religion as a tool to sort of inspire. But just like Hitler used Mein Kampf or whatever it is called to inspire.
Yeah.
Like Hitler inspired a whole country to basically kill millions of people. Not only to just kill millions of innocent people, but also to if you know about any of these innocent people, if you know they're around, make sure you tell us so we can murder them. Mm-hmm. And everyone collectively, a whole country was like, yeah, it's yep, okay. And so I feel like, because I've been giving this a lot of thought over this, after this Paris thing, and I feel like atheist, of which I am one and which you are one, always jump on the if this if there was no religion, this wouldn't be happening. And I disagree. I think it would be happening because it's been happening from the beginning of time. Religion related many times, non-religion related many times, but it's more to do with humanity and humans killing other humans for power or perceived power. And this is just a new kind of terrorism, is like in vogue at the moment, of how people are sold on like the power of religion is what's selling these extremists into doing these crazy stuff. But I feel like it would just be something else, some other crazies and some other type of indoctrination that was pushing people towards it. Because, in a way, it used to be sort of countries going to war, and now it's just kind of...
ideologies.
Yeah.
The thing is, obviously there's multiple factors in all of this. Mm-hmm. I still really feel like if you were to educate away somehow religion, I really feel like you'd have a lot more trouble rallying up that type of nationalism, that kind of crazy. And it's also like your example of World War II is, obviously, once again, there's so many factors in World War II, but Hitler was a Catholic and he was killing the Jews. It's still got religion aspects to it.
Yeah.
So and he worked closely with the Catholic Church in Germany. And the Catholic Church helped heaps of the Nazis get out and get to South America after the war. There's definitely, again, like a religious aspect to it. It's I just find it very frustrating. Sometimes you feel a bit down on humanity when stuff like this happens. You're like, what are you doing, you fucking, retards? You're just ruining it for everybody with your silly bullshit.
Yeah. Well, also, I think it should be like, I've sort of done a bit of reading up as much as I can. It's only been a day since the Paris attack, but it seems that some of the, basically a lot of this is coming from. This is not even, again, we're sort of going back to religion, but it's also a failure in terms of in the system, because essentially these terrorists, a couple of them look like they've been turned out, as were several others, having gone to prison and then being converted in prison, and then being sort of pushed out into the world. Radicalized in prison, coming out, and them sort of basically coming from sort of a place of poverty, a place of neglect, and a place where they've turned to crime, they've been punished, and then, someone comes and says, hey, you can be special, you can be a hero for this cause, and also you get all these cool things.
Like 72 virgins.
When you die. And so,
lasts me about 24 hours.
It's very easy to sell, to sell a dream to someone like a quite uneducated person who hasn't been brought up and has also brought up to dislike the system because the system has punished them and the system hasn't given them any opportunities. That's a very easy thing. And basically, so you've got these kind of cells being created in prisons, specifically in France, where they have 70% apparently of the prison population is thought to be Muslim.
Right.
And again, there's many reasons for that, but if that sort of prison system was better developed and if there was rehabilitation programs going on, that, people wouldn't be being rehabilitated into radicals. So it's, the further you look back, you just see failure upon failure. And Paris apparently they've got a few problems that leave them very exposed to terrorist attacks. One is they're quite involved in in deploying troops in Syria, and have been very active and have a very sort of intolerant towards these extremist groups.
But so whose side are they on in Syria? The government or the rebels?
I don't know. They're just trying to stamp out ISIS, and I don't really know much more than that. I just know that one of the reasons they're thought to be a big target is because they're heavily involved with their armies, with their troops being there. And secondly, that it's very hard for them to regulate guns coming in to France. It's very easy to smuggle this in, and apparently there's a lot of sort of leftover weaponry from other things in very nearby countries. And so again, you've got kind of these radical people who have the means to do a lot of damage. And then they were also talking about how this would be different. Essentially they've kind of stamped out Al-Qaeda to a degree. And then this new ISIS has sort of taken its place, which is actually much worse because Al-Qaeda was all about sort of coordinated attacks. And this is a coordinated attack, but it's more like ISIS kind of provide the tools and sort of indoctrinate you and say, now go off. Here's some good ideas. Go off and do some terrorism. And that can be on varying scales. Whereas Al-Qaeda, it all had to be very
approved
by the book, and it all had to be sort of okayed from the top brass, and they couldn't have any it was seen as very bad if any of them acted independently to do something like this, even though this was a sort of concerted effort by probably what is quite a large group of people. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one.
It's the same the world over, really, isn't it? It's that whole education, welfare, healthcare, all of these things. You got to invest in that shit so that people aren't fucking miserable and don't get driven to this type of stuff.
Yeah, and also prison rehabilitation, which is not very much interested in a lot of countries because taxpayers aren't really interested in like helping criminals, and they want
so short-sighted.
Exactly.
It's like you got to help them, so otherwise they're going to come out and fucking rape you.
Yeah,
or fucking blow your head off.
Yeah, but it's hard to people want the sort of society wants to see people punished to the fullest extent of the law. They don't want to hear about second chances, and they don't want to hear about someone doing something terrible and then being taught why it's wrong and given an opportunity to not. And that is a very hard thing to swallow sometimes, but it does create these very dangerous situations where you feel like you have no option, and you have the option to be a hero in some people's eyes, and I guess what you would define as make a name for yourself, and also just be able to act as a god almost, to have the to be able to feel like you have the freedom to take human life and have the only consequence is reward. It's all very dangerous stuff. So yes, certainly we, the Guy and Harley podcast,
started off on a serious note.
Grim note, very.
But it is. Yeah. It's 11 a.m.
It is 11 a.m.
Guy's been up since yesterday because he worked last night.
So I've been up. I've just cracked the 24-hour mark because I got up at about 11 a.m. yesterday. I'm
slightly hungover.
Yep.
As I went to the How Not to Be an Asshole live recording of their podcast last night, and indulged in a drink or two afterwards.
Yep.
And it was good. Now this particular podcast is being done with the coffee, not the usual cocktail of booze and So that's why it's a little dark. Maybe you're tired. I'm hungover. And Paris, this whole Paris thing just happened.
And a terrible tragedy just struck.
Yeah.
But yeah, all very, very scary stuff. Also just the scale of it as well. The scale of it is really disturbing. And also, I guess, how much damage, because, of those attacks, they killed sort of just around 100 or so people in one of those at the concert.
Yeah, the Eagles of Death Metal concert.
And that's just I don't know if it was really a 10-minute time frame, but that's what they were talking about, was really when the brunt of the damage was done.
Yeah.
And this is just at one place.
Yeah.
And it's going to give other people ideas probably as well.
Yeah.
But yes...
us moderate people are sort of trapped in the middle here, because you're going to have these terrorist people saying, all right, we need to go to places that are jam-packed full of people and like open fire. And then on the flip side of that, you're going to have the government saying, well, obviously we need to stop that from happening. Therefore, here's the GCSB bill, and here's the NSA, and we need to observe everybody, and everything needs to be on the record, and you guys, we need to take away your rights in order to avoid this type of thing from happening again, in order to, you can't expect us to stop it with no information. And here's us in the middle just trying to like live our lives. Suddenly we have no privacy, and we still get running pretty much the same risk of getting blown up.
It's a tricky business.
It's one thing that I dislike about living in Auckland is that, obviously if anything's going to happen, because down at Dunedin, you're pretty safe from
Dunedin's OG from the any
radicalized religious attacks, but like up here in Auckland, like, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen here in Auckland, and it's probably going to happen in the central city, which is where you work, and it's where I work, and we live in the central suburbs. Like we're in fucking ground zero here, and it's the same thing. Obviously, not quite related, but I sometimes think, well, if there was ever a nuclear war and you were going to nuke anywhere in New Zealand, it'd be Auckland.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, we'd be dead in the initial blast.
So we're moving out to the country.
We're moving back to Dunedin and giving up on our filmmaking dreams.
Over this potential threat.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, I think.
Moving on.
What have we got here? Got any listener question? Where do we got? Fan feedback? What's going on here?
Well, yesterday I gave the DVD, the signed DVD, to the guys from How Not to Be an Arsehole, so hopefully they watch it and get us on the show for an interview.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't ask for a signed DVD.
Yeah.
But I just fanboyishly gave it to them anyway.
What was their facial
Oh, no, they seem pretty cool with it.
reaction?
They seem like genuinely cool guys. They seem pretty cool with it.
Right.
But, who knows what they say when I'm gone. They're like, that fucking dude. But no, that fucking guy hanging around, he always just says, sweet. No, but like, they seem pretty cool with it. It's just funny because you wrote on it, you didn't know what you were signing it for.
Nah.
So you just wrote, hey, Todd and Dom, thanks for all the support. Long live zombies.
Yeah.
But
But you see what I did there? Because I said long live zombies, but zombies are dead.
Yeah, right, I
There's
get
my little-
it. Yeah, I get it. It's just funny because they didn't ask for it and they're not necessarily supporters.
Well, they're not supporting at all. We gave them the DVD. If anything, they're detractors. They're detracting income from us, from not purchasing the DVD.
Yeah. And I just wrote like, hey guys, I really like your show. Keep up the good work. Or something, and then I signed it. But still, let's see. Maybe they'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
I reckon they will. And I caught up with some old school friends of ours last night as well that were at this Whammy Fest, a concert that's happening this week, or it's just about to finish, at Whammy Bar on K Road in Auckland.
Right.
So I caught up with Stu and Kit and Vanya, our old friends from various rock bands.
Did it make you nostalgic for the days of the old school yard?
It did. It was nice. Played some ping pong. It was good.
Did you go, remember the time that we remember those parties out at your place, kid? And
I did say the other day, because we shot a music video for these guys' band called Ritalin, their old band, and we made a music video for them about 8 years ago or something in Wellington.
Yeah.
And we chatted about that.
How did it really ever get released?
I don't think it got released because I watched it the other day. It's on my computer.
Yeah.
Randomly, I watched this music video that we shot 8 years ago. It wasn't that bad.
No, well,
It's pretty good.
We put a lot of work into
and
that.
then I think maybe did they just not like it?
Yeah, they didn't really like it.
And didn't want to release it.
They didn't like it, so they had some notes. We'd made a couple changes, and then they kind of that was it.
Right. That's such a waste. That's such a waste because instead of their song "Losing Out" having a music video released,
Was it called Losing Out?
Yeah, it was "Losing Out." It's so much fun losing out. And so
classic punk lyrics.
instead of having their
No cliches here.
instead of having their video released, they just didn't have the video released, and nothing happened with that song. They should have gone with it, and it wasn't even that. It wasn't that bad. It certainly wasn't the worst music video we've made. Put it that way.
Well, you know what kind of hurts my feelings is that they did actually at one point get a music video funded.
Grant, yeah.
And they did not consider us.
No, they did. But the problem was they filmed it over in Australia. Because
did they film it?
Yeah,
I thought they filmed it over. I just thought they filmed it in Wellington.
I thought they filmed it in Australia, and because I kind of talked to them about it at the time, and don't get me wrong, they weren't like super like, yeah, man, obviously it's going to be you guys.
It's got to be you guys, the boys,
boys, support,
support the boys,
supporting each other.
We know you would do a good job. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Also, we know that you've come to millions of our gigs over the years, and shown support in that way. So we're gonna send something back your way, guys.
Yeah, after shooting that first one for free.
So
and spending weeks and weeks on it.
Yeah, we've got $5,000, so let's. How about you guys just do it, and we'll trust you. No, none of that. None of that.
And it was a shit music video.
It was all right.
It was shit.
It was all right. What's that? That was for the next band they called The Outsiders.
Yeah, it was this is the thing. I really like The Outsiders, but the first thing I thought when I watched that music video was like, that is fucking lazy. That is made by a lazy person that is not prepared to really, like it would have been shot in a day, maybe two. They had this one location. They shot a couple of cobwebs. They had some tracking shots. But it was all and it was just the guys singing.
Yeah.
And some old things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was very like underwhelming because when you get that 5Gs, that's fuck all. But when you see some of the cool shit that people do, it's like you want someone to be going hard on that shit. You
Yeah.
want someone to be like fucking going, okay, I'm going to shoot here, we're going to shoot here, we're going to bring in all these actors, we're going to make them work for free. Like we're going to like put so much into making this cool. And what it seemed to me was like they got someone to do it. They did the bare minimum you would expect for that amount of money, and that's what you got. And that's, but you have to go above and beyond because that amount of money is not enough to make a music video good.
Yeah, well, I didn't mind their music video. I'll post it as a comment in the below this podcast, so you guys can check it out too. But I didn't hate it. But yeah, it was just a bit meh. It was just nothing. It wasn't particularly memorable. No, nothing too exciting happening. They stood around in a dusty old attic and played some music,
played some jams.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a band rehearsal.
Yeah. Yeah, and they filmed it. And some guy charged them $5,000,
and some guy took $5,000 off him for that.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, boys, which you're not, but if you were, let's just say we're fucking ready. All right, we're fucking ready for the next one.
Yeah.
So anytime you manage to get $5,000 or even maybe just $1,000, you just let us know.
All
maybe
right.
not even $1,000, maybe $500. You just let us know.
Just let us know.
I'm chomping at the bit to do some more music videos.
Well, Kit has seen I Survived the Zombie Holocaust, as has Liam. Oh, and Stu was there as well. Did I say that? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Liam wasn't there. Stu was there. Anyway, Stu hadn't seen it. But anyway, word on the street has it that Liam was genuinely enjoyed it.
Yep.
And was genuinely surprised that it was good.
To be fair, that's
A criticism we get a lot, or
yes.
a note we get a lot. Hey, I'm kind of surprised you guys actually made something good.
Yeah. There's a legitimate shock from some people, particularly our
People
friends,
that know us.
surprisingly to us,
Yeah.
that they are shocked that they're like, hey, I thought it was gonna be shit, but it's actually not shit. And it's like, yeah, what do you, come on, guys. We really worked hard on this. It's got 5 years of this. We're not going to just plop something like, this is the thing. And I thought about this all the way through filming, but it's like, this film was going to define me to some degree. And any potential future of work I may get will be based off this film. So there is no way that there can be any kind of phoning in. And there's no way there can be any kind of half-assedness at all. It has. I mean, and unfortunately, I think back in the day, if you just made a good film, that was great. You kind of had a career going forward. And now, because making films, the art of making a film has just become easier by the process of digital cameras. Film stock's gone. None of that stuff. All that stuff is gone.
The cameras are better, so you don't have to worry about lighting as much.
Edited on computer. Like the very fact that the difficulties of film have been reduced to a point where
Every Tom, Dick, and Harry's making one.
Yeah, The Room can become a classic. Or whatever, means that the value of making a good film is diminished. And so I think we made a good film, but that is not enough. In this day and age, you have to make a great film.
Well, it's also, we've been making films for 16 years or something. So stop being so fucking surprised when something's decent.
Well, also, yeah, because I think also we project this image of like, oh, it's the goofy Pigville boys,
fucking around,
self-deprecating,
making
stupid jokes, making toilet humor. All of that stuff is true, but on the same token, like I really have studied a lot of, I understand the process of filmmaking inside out from a technical standpoint, from a sort of a narrative standpoint, from script to screen. Every single part of that process I have studied for hundreds of hours and read millions of books and practiced, through countless edits and cuts and sort of, millions of mistakes to get to this point. So it's not like there are quite a few people that just go, oh yeah, I can make a film. and they make it, and it's not good. It's terrible because you can't just make a film. You can't just fluke that. You can't make anything remotely near to being good if you have not had a long period of time doing it. You can fluke a short film, so you can do a good short film, and kind of the other elements to come together. You have a good crew involved, and it's just, it just all sort of works in a short form. But you could never do a feature like that. It would always fall apart. So we take this shit fucking seriously. I spend probably a very large majority of my time thinking about filmmaking, how I can get better, how I can improve, what mistakes I'm making, and that is an ongoing dialogue in my head 24 hours a day. So let's not think we're just a bunch of boobs.
So if you guys could stop thinking of us as a couple of fucking boobs, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be really great.
That would be nice.
I had my audition the other day.
Yep.
The A to Z rap one that you might recall from the previous podcast.
Yep.
And it went well. It was pretty good. Not bad. But today is Sunday, and I would be flying to Australia tomorrow, and I haven't heard anything. So I think it's safe to say I haven't got the role.
And this is an Australian ad, right?
Yeah.
So we're very unlikely to see it.
Yeah. Well, you could Google it.
I guess.
You're about to get it on YouTube, I'd say.
Right.
But yeah, you're not going to see it on the telly.
Well, I want to know who beat you, because I got to take my hat off to him.
Yeah.
Because you had that rap going pretty well.
I did, but there is a couple of factors. I shouldn't have taken your advice, for one. Your advice, it actually...
What was my advice?
It was sound advice, or I thought it was, I was like, no, it's good advice. Was like, because basically they had given me all these lyrics that you couldn't really get through in under kind of a minute 10. And they'd given me a beat that only had about 48 seconds worth of actual beat. And so what I did was I extended the beat, and then I took the beat in with me on my phone, the extended version, so that I could do it along to the beat. Yeah. But it went fine and it was okay. And I don't know what the other guys had been doing. I'm not sure because the other guys, I think, I don't know exactly how they were doing it without the beat, because they weren't doing it just without the beat. I think they were, I don't know what they were doing, but anyway, the point is that I took the beat in and I thought that would make my performance better, but actually I think it kind of just rushed me, and it meant that I sort of ran out of breath a bit more, and but I didn't realize what I should have done is I should have gone in there with no beat and just done it at my own pace and just had fun with it, and fuck the time, fuck the beat, and just shown that I can do it, show that I get the joke, show that I can have fun with it.
But you used your beat.
So I did use my beat.
You were just playing it on your iPhone.
Yeah, on my phone. Yeah. And that actually kind of just sort of made it harder.
Yeah.
And then the next day I went to my acting course, my final acting course.
Yep.
I just finished a 10-week acting course. I went to 7 of them.
Have you graduated with flying colours?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Is it? Do you get a certificate?
Graduate. Nah.
Your certificate is the check you write to them for an exorbitant amount of money.
I've got to pay $500 now to them. But so anyway, basically I'd been working a week on this A to Z rap, right? So I hadn't been practicing my monologue that I was supposed to do in my acting class.
What was your monologue?
Well, that's the thing. I just didn't do a monologue. What I did instead was I did my A to Z rap.
Right.
In front of a live audience.
And how did that go?
Well, that's the thing. It went quite well. Like, that went way better than the audition.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I didn't bother with the beat.
Yeah.
Basically, I got up there, and it was a reasonably big it was the biggest class I'd been to, actually. So it was quite a lot of people there. And yeah, I did it. And then she gave me an adjustment, which is what, she says, okay, that's cool, but try it this way.
Yeah.
And basically, she said, make it bigger, do it as big as you can, like over the top, as big as you can go, kind of thing. And so I did it that way, sort of this taking it, making big gestures and jumping
jazz
around,
hands.
jazz handing it up, and it was fucking awesome. It was way better than any of my other performances or any other times doing it. I'm kind of, and when I left that class, I was like, shit, I definitely haven't got the role, because that was way better than
what I needed to do.
That's what I needed to do, and I didn't even nearly do that last time.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in my defense of my advice to you, I was saying, like, take your beat in as a backup. So if they're like, oh, we're going to do it to the beat, you go, sweet, got it right here, guys.
Yeah.
as opposed to actually just whip the beat out straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Never whip the beat out straight off the bat.
Yeah. So
Do not take the beat out until you've been asked.
no beating out. It's a slight relief in a way, just simply because I can't get this week off work. I've already actually tried to get a few days off this week for other things, and I can't get it off.
Yeah.
So I was going to have to like fucking put my tools down and walk out, I guess, if I was going to take this ad, I had like 2 days or 3 days to try and get like 8 days off work when they've already told me I couldn't even have like one particular day in there off. So it's a bit of a relief to not get fired.
Yeah. Well, look, it's always nice to have a job.
Yeah, well, also because if I get fired, I guess that's the end of our semi-pro deal.
Oh, yeah.
So
That'd be awful.
I'd get $10,000 for a day's work, but then I'd be looking for a job.
Yeah. No, I don't want you to stop giving me that, mate.
How is that semi-pro going? What's the update for the listeners?
I mean, it's good.
So Guy's been working 3 days at his normal job, and then
4 days at my
4 days working on Pigville stuff. And this is the new formula we've been working on, and it's been 2 weeks now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's going good. I mean, I'm doing more. But I've been doing mainly is editing older, and I've just happened to come up to some very slow bits that have taken a very long time to cut right. And that's what you find in editing is some scenes are just boom, just do them in a second, no probs. And then other scenes you just get very meticulous about, and you just kind of have to go over and over and over again. And then still kind of, and then have done 30 seconds. You've spent fucking 8 hours and you did 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I have been working a lot on that stuff, but I'm actually kind of frustrated by my sort of lack of sort of actually seeing that tangible sort of result.
Well, this is all going to be in your performance appraisal.
Well, look, but this is a filmmaking podcast.
It's a podcast about our lives.
And, because I've been editing, I've come up with a little editing analogy. Sometimes we talk about this sort of thing, and I feel like editing a scene is basically like cooking a steak. Mm-hmm. And it can sort of come out 3 ways, right? Lean, no fat, ready to be consumed. That's your best possible outcome. Mm-hmm. Second one, a little bit of fat around the edges. But it's still pretty good. Largely, it's a good steak. It's a good scene. It kind of works. Mm-hmm. Third one, probably the most one you get most often, very gristly. Gristly scene, a lot of fat, needs a lot of removal, takes a lot longer to digest.
Some bits you chew on them for a bit and then you just end up spitting them out.
Exactly. And, that is, you really want to feed it to your dog. Just throw it away and feed it to your dog. And that's the 3 levels of steak editing.
Good. So you heard it here first, people. coined by Guy Pigton. Steak editing, the analogy.
And I'll go one step further to say, it is possible also to overcook a good steak.
Take it too far.
Which is, and that's sometimes where I am now sort of getting to the point where it's like I can't decide where I've gotten to the point where I'm making it, obviously short and lean enough that it's all working and it's all good, and that I've now kind of crossed from it being its shortest, its tightest, and its best to its not, I've taken something out of it. I've kind of removed the heart of it. Well, I wasn't really, because I was trying to get it to be so lean that I've actually kind of taken out that key thing, that special thing that could make it good. And I always sometimes wonder whether I'm just overstepping the mark, because a lot of the time when I'm thinking about editing, I'm like, who cares about any of this shit? Who gives a fuck? No one's going to give a fuck. I've got to just get rid of it all. And you want to be super harsh on yourself, and you want to be trying to get rid of as much as you can, but you also don't want to be just like not trusting that also people will just sit and potentially enjoy something and potentially enjoy these characters developing and interacting. And you know, I think we definitely took that too far in the zombie film when we kind of took away too much of Wesley's character, trying to do this thing of like progressing the story along at this rapid fire pace, and we kind of took out some of the heart of Wesley because we sort of overdid it, we overcooked it, and then we actually had to bring it back and put some more stuff back in. You know, through some costly re-editing.
Very, very expensive $10,000 re-editing.
And also just and so it's a risk, but I think that those are the kind of things that you have to deal with. So that's Guy Pigden's editing tips for today on the podcast.
I just going back to the audition, by the way, I almost accidentally told them about HGH, our rap posse,
right?
Which probably would have been a bad thing,
definitely,
because they were like, oh, so what's your hip hop experience? And I was like, oh, well, I've released a few songs on YouTube, and I do spoken word poetry. You know,
you go, look, I don't mean to brag, but I do spoken word poetry every third weekend at the Thirsty Dog.
It's on Tuesday nights, actually. It's actually on Tuesday nights, and
to a crowd of 10 to 15.
There's usually more than that. It's probably between 20 and 30.
And I provided one free beer, so I'll let you judge how good my work is.
They don't provide any free beers. There's no free beers for the people performing.
No tab? No one
nothing.
beer tab?
Nothing. I think you only get something if you're like the host.
Right.
If you host it and you know you're the centerpiece of the night.
Whoever thought there would be something as ridiculous as a host poet?
Yeah, man. You got to get up there and get the creative juices flowing. You know.
Yeah.
Get the crowd pumped.
Yeah. Get the creative juices flowing like the homeless man masturbating in the corner. So,
HGH. Our rap posse, right?
Yeah.
I almost kind of said like, oh, I'm in a rap posse called HGH, you know, but that just would have been really bad for a commercial, company to if they bother to look me up and see me up there, and I'm frothed at the mouth. I froth at the mouth when I'm fucking your baby, you know, and like fuck you, John Key, and all this other stuff. I'm looking for my Gorgo. All I find is whores, though. I've conquered 300. I could do a few more, though. You know, that's one line from each of our songs.
Classic. Classic. Oh, what about my dick's a light year long spaghettification?
Yeah, and your black hole's my destination.
So yeah,
I was attracted by your big ass gravitation, and I came so quick, like time dilation.
That's a clever lyric. That's clever.
Well, it's all clever. My balls have reached their infinite mass. At the bottom of a black hole, they reckon there's this thing called infinite mass. You know, that's my balls have reached their infinite mass.
What you should do is you should tweet your lyrics to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay,
like, what do you think, bro?
Yeah. Okay, I'll probably do that. It's kind of funny.
It is pretty funny. You go, look, I wrote a little rap about space. Just wondering what you think about it. And just send them your verse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think they would have appreciated it. To be fair, I don't think a lot of people would appreciate it if you told them you're an HGH.
Yeah.
And they listen to those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, my mum shared 2 music videos the other day. She shared Back in the Days and John Key Stop Bullshitting Me.
Well, Back in the Days is probably the most tasteful.
It's the most commercial.
It's the most radio friendly.
but she didn't play The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. She didn't share The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. She said it was too much. Too much.
Look, son.
All that stuff from Hamish about raping dead girls, just too much.
It's just too much for me, son. The raping of the dead girls and the babies, son. That's just a bit too much for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, luckily though, I didn't. Let that slip in the audition.
Yeah, well, we are sort of due to release another hip hop classic.
Yeah, well, we do have 2 songs that we've recorded that we haven't really properly
true.
released. One of them is Ghosts of Girlfriends. It's all about love.
Yep.
And the other one is what do we call that? Space Sex one?
Well, I think wasn't it called called Spacey Racy something?
Oh, no, that was the working
That was
title.
the temp.
Well, whatever it is. Anyway, there's the space one as well,
Yeah.
which I actually think is pretty good.
Yeah. Mine, I err more on the side of film references.
Yeah.
Science fiction films.
Yeah, I went for sex jokes disguised thinly as science, along with some pessimistic stuff about being a tiny little speck in the universe.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Forgot about that shit.
It's actually my favourite verse, maybe.
Yeah. So
We'll have to play it at the end of this.
I guess we should. Now that we've
we've
kind
talked
of
about it.
trapped.
Yeah.
Kind of trapped. We have to play at least some of it.
Yeah.
So, I've got a couple of sort of interesting topics myself. Mm-hmm. One, Shia LaBeouf. Mm-hmm. Familiar with him?
Yes.
Guy from Transformers.
Indiana Jones.
Guy from the last Indiana Jones
Indiana
film.
Jones Jr.
Indy Jr. Is doing an art installation where he's filmed on live stream watching all of his films in reverse chronology.
Chronological order?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I sort of saw a couple of glimpses of it.
So it's like 24 hours.
Yeah, I think it was longer.
Yeah, just slightly over 24 hours. He's watching his films. And it's just him watching the films. There's other people can walk in and watch the films with him.
Yeah.
Plus, he's being videoed at all times, watching himself, watching his films.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's funny and original and kind of interesting, and it's the type of thing you can do if you've got a following. Like this guy could shit in a fucking cup, and
some of his art installations may wind up being that.
Yeah.
Do you consider this art?
Well, no, it's not art.
Well, this is a piece of art.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the thing about art is it's such a loose definition, isn't it? Like, like anything's art if you put the right slant on it. But it's not really what I would traditionally call art. I'd call it
attention seeking.
A social media experiment, something like that. A publicity experiment,
Stunt.
Yeah, exactly. A publicity stunt, a social media experiment. I don't know if I'd define it as art. But maybe he's taking the piss, and maybe that's kind of the joke.
Well, I guess he is to a degree. Apparently, he disappeared for 90 minutes in Transformers 3.
Yeah?
Yeah. That one was too much for him.
Yeah, he was like, fuck it.
It's like, I'm just going out. But he was not meant to do that. He broke his own art rules.
What about iRobot?
He's not in that.
Isn't he?
Maybe he is in that.
He plays like
he's
one
a little kid.
Yeah, he's a little kid in iRobot.
Fuck, I forgot about that.
Oh, bro, he's one of the best characters in it.
Yeah, him and Will Smith.
Yeah.
Actually forgot all about that.
Totally forgot about it, did you?
Yeah, well, he's been in a lot of stuff, and I guess that's the thing.
You're obviously not a Shia LaBeouf fan like I am.
Connoisseur like you. Well, this leads us to another thing as well. This is like a report recently from an English paper, the esteemed newspaper The Sun. Mm-hmm. But apparently, an A-list star has been diagnosed with HIV.
Yeah.
Straight guy. He's been diagnosed with HIV. He's kind of a bit of a, like, sort of notorious womanizer.
Now, A-list in America?
A-list in America.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, revealed, this to anyone.
Yeah.
But, it's now becoming known.
Yeah.
But he was worried that if he goes public with it, people will sue him.
Yeah.
Because he may have illegally put, women at risk that he slept with.
Yeah.
Because, how long does he had it for? They don't know.
Yeah.
He sleeps with a lot of women. He's an A-list star. So, my question to you is, who is it?
Well, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, isn't it?
DiCaprio.
Yeah, he's
good guess.
He's a womanizer.
Notorious womanizer.
A-list Hollywood.
Yep, for a long time.
Like it all
been through a bunch of hoes.
Yeah. So it all, you could imagine, you could see it being him.
That's a good guess.
Yeah.
I was really stumped.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I thought it would probably be the generation ahead
Right.
of him.
Yeah.
Because because like he is probably one of the last true A-list stars. There's not really A-list stars anymore. There's just kind of people that you know that are in movies now. I don't think that like, you know, sort of 10 years going back a decade and earlier, there was a lot more to a marquee name. You know, like you go see a film because someone's in it and you like that someone, and you go see that thing and you refer to it as a Brad Pitt film, a Tom Cruise film, you know. And I feel like because like everything's being splintered with, you know, the internet and video on demand and all that stuff, it's not so much of a special thing, you know, and also Twitter and all that stuff. So all these stars, you see them all the time, fucking on Twitter on, you know, tweeting about some bullshit. And so suddenly that kind of the aura and mystique is lost. People are more interested now in fucking reality TV as well. You know, the Kardashians and stuff. You know, they're the kind of people that they're like, whoa, I want to see more of them. And so it's been a sort of a dilution of the star as, you know, banking a film. And it's still like you will still go see a film, but now it has to have more elements. So like, yeah.
A good story. And all.
Well, no, I mean...
A beginning, middle, and end.
If only it was those things. But no, I'm more thinking it's got to be a $200 million blockbuster, you know, with Transformers in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it was just the star and it was in some science fiction film with robots, not interested. Oh, hang on. It's the Transformers, so there's going to be Optimus Prime, and there's going to be a cameo from Buzz Aldrin. You know, and then you go, oh, okay, you've sold me.
Yeah. Don't know how much pulling power Buzz Aldrin has.
Well,
random, but
completely none. He has no pulling power, except with the NASA nerds.
The NASA nerds. I mean, you know, I'd shake his hand.
Yeah. So you know, so I think that I was going, okay, well, it's got to be someone in their 50s, right? Or sort of late 40s.
Well, I'm thinking.
So I was guessing people like Johnny Depp.
Right.
Or can't be Brad Pitt. He's married to Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Although she has got a lot skinnier since they got together.
Jesus.
Just an observation.
Just an observation. Yeah.
That's what the disease can do to you.
Yeah.
Wasting. But so I don't think it's him. Johnny Depp, again, was married for a long time and is now just engaged to someone else.
Is he a notorious womanizer?
I mean, he was before that. He was with a lot of women, and so was Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
You
know,
know?
as you would be when you're
Those
one of the
people.
most desirable people on earth.
So, you know, I was kind of thinking there, but I was like, who else? Colin Farrell? That'd be a reasonable guess.
Yeah.
Colin
Do
Farrell.
you count him as a Hollywood A-lister, but just because
he's a Hollywood
Irish, you know?
B-lister.
Yeah.
Really. But, you know, like they would say he was an A-lister for the sake of this article.
That's what I was going to say as well, is I think that there's probably an element of just hyping it up too.
Yeah.
Because they're saying, oh, it's an A-lister, and I bet it's going to be somebody that I've fucking never heard of, or somebody that's kind of obscure to me, somebody that used to be an A-lister a long time ago, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, then I kind of thought like Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
You know? Going a bit further that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we don't know who it is. Will it be revealed in the fullness of time?
I think it will be. There's no way it won't be, with the internet and with hacking and with
TMZ.
all that stuff. Like, you know, they're going to want to know. And there's a lot of money at stake here, because if this person's rich, you know, basically every woman that he's fucked in the last 2 years is going to be putting their hand out.
Yeah.
For emotion, even if they don't have it, just for like emotional distress.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, all of these types of, you know, suing things that they do in America.
Yeah. Well, look, I guess he'd just plead that he didn't know.
Well, yeah. Well, it depends when he was diagnosed, though.
Yeah.
Because if he was diagnosed, because I thought the story was that he had been diagnosed 2 years ago, and he's been spending 2 years just running around, not bothering telling anybody,
not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a really good guess.
Yeah.
But I would be kind of shocked if it was him.
Well, you'd be shocked and disappointed and saddened.
Leo. Yeah.
Because it's quite a horrible way to end a really amazing career. You know, like, because that's obviously going to tarnish. He will be forever known for that.
Yeah.
You know, not his great work in all these various films.
Yeah. Yeah, but all the elements are there for him.
Yeah.
The womanizing,
He's not married.
the not really settling down, the being very handsome and Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
A-list star.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Well, no, he was married for a long time. Though.
Yeah. No, my money's on Leo.
So if you want to guess who is the A-list star with HIV, write that in.
Yeah, that's facebook.com/Guy and Harley.
And we will speculate on
And
that.
we'll speculate a little further on that. Angie's parents, my girlfriend's parents, are coming to New Zealand in a couple of days.
I'm really looking forward to some classic Meet the Parents style stories
Yeah.
coming out of this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the dad is like a old Scarface.
Yeah.
He's like a Cuban drug lord.
Yeah. Colombian, but yeah.
Same thing.
Well, Cuba's an island. Colombia's, on the mainland.
But, you know, he is old.
Because Guy and I both met.
We met him. And
the dad.
He is pleasant, but you just feel like underneath that, he's like killed people in his life. You know, he has for wronging him. And he's had to do some bad things. I don't know. I just got that sense.
That's just the vibe that you
was
got.
just the vibe I got.
To be honest, I think it's because he was wearing like a Colombian style fedora.
Right.
And I think that was what made you think he looked like a gangster. Because after meeting him, Guy said, yeah, he seems like a retired gangster who's retired now but could still have you killed if he really wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh shit. Yeah. What? So you say he takes off the hat and he looks like a Hans
normal
man? Simpsons reference.
I didn't say that.
Simpsons reference.
But that is pretty
Simpsons reference for you.
That is pretty funny.
Bring it back to your favorite Simpsons.
Yeah. But I've never met the mum, and she doesn't speak English.
Right.
So
Well, lucky you speak
fluent Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that'll be interesting times, and they're here for like more than a month.
Right. They're gonna get really bored.
Well, maybe, I don't know. They'll go around, they'll road trip around, see some things. But yeah, so I'm gonna have the Colombian in-laws around for more than a month over Christmas and New Year's.
Classic Meet the Parents scenario. There is a guaranteed movie in that.
Yeah.
There is a movie premise and a guy meets a Colombian girl and, you know, falls in love, and then the parents come over and one of them is a retired gangster. Mm-hmm.
That does sound a lot like Meet the Fockers with a Colombian slant.
He's a retired Secret Service guy.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, she is just like a vanilla white girl, you know, Ben Stiller's wife.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, you got the cultural element here. You know, the cultural faux pas that you can make.
Yeah.
And the sort of, you know, the communication barrier.
So it's a cross between Meet the Fockers and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That's what you're saying? It's kind of something like that.
That's our tagline. So we've just thought up a new film here on a podcast.
the new Pigville production. So,
Meet the Mosquitoes.
yeah, that's what it's called. Meet the Mosquitoes. Great.
Well, you know, I've been doing a bit of watching of things. Mm-hmm. You know, when
Children mostly.
when I babysit them. Obviously.
Obviously, eh? Responsible.
Yeah. So you know, I've been on this Pigville. I've been on paid Pigville leave.
Yeah.
So I've been watching heaps of films.
Yeah. You know.
So I've watched like 50 films in the last 2 weeks.
There has been a certain amount of backfire from my behalf as well, from my perspective, because now suddenly you're up at you're up in your home and talking shit with Shelley.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to go to sleep, whereas it used to be that you were
gone. I was
you
at
were
work.
gone at work. So now I you're there watching films and talking crap with Shelley, and I'm trying to go to sleep. It's backfired on me a little.
Big time. Earplugs, my friend.
You know, I'm like, what the fuck am I paying you for?
But if you did come in, like, you'd be coming in at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Going, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Why are you working? I'm like, it's 2 a.m., bro.
That's prime working time.
Well, look, to be fair, I have been doing quite a few 6 a.m. marathons. So I have been trying to make the most of it. I actually do feel a great I like to joke about it, but I do feel a great responsibility. Like, every day that slips by, I'm like, damn, did I do enough today to justify this?
Am I squandering
Did
Harley's
I just waste my
savings?
best friend's money?
His savings.
Watching the new James Bond film? And his money, because I used his money to pay for the James Bond film?
Oh, that's research.
That is research.
That's research.
So I did watch the new James Bond film. Coincidentally, completely unrelated, I did watch the new James Bond film.
When I wasn't editing, I took some of that money you gave me and I went to the cinema to watch the latest James Bond film.
Now, it's called SPECTRE, and my Twitter joke was going to be, look, I don't believe in ghosts, but I am ready to see a spectre.
And what?
Hashtag dad joke.
Yeah, that you need
Hashtag
that.
classic. Hashtag dad joke.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that on
Decided
Twitter.
against it?
No, I just forgot about it, and then I
Right.
remembered just then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of going off Twitter now.
Why? Spending too much time on there too.
Well, I'm not actually. I don't really spend that much time on Twitter, and I actually do find heaps of interesting articles on it, unlike Facebook. But on the same token, you know, it's this thing. It's like, you know, when do you stop getting inspired and start inspiring? You know,
Well, you can inspire people via Twitter.
well, that's true. But, you know, like half of my Twitter followers, maybe 2/3 of my Twitter followers are spam bots.
Right.
So who am I talking to? And who gives a fuck? And shouldn't I be just thinking of the thing, doing the thing, getting on with the thing? I always think about that. Whenever I'm fucking wasting time on the internet or Twitter or whatever, it's like, okay, now just imagine, go back to my childhood. What would I have done in this situation with no internet? And the answer is always invariably something better. I would have, you know, and that's why I went off Facebook. But I also feel like this can extend to Twitter. You should, you know, we should really. Also, you're just filling up your head with nonsense. You know, like the act of reading something, right? Whether it's a tweet or a joke or whatever, that's information going into your brain. And I feel like
There's only so much room in there.
there's only so much room in there before stuff starts coming out the other side. And also, you know, there is a lot of arguments to say that our brains weren't really made to receive this much information all the time.
Right.
You know, like that we were not, and, you know, this is not something our brains have become accustomed to through evolution, because we've literally been bombarded with it in yours and I's lifetime.
Yeah.
So there's no way our brains have had the ability to adapt and evolve and be able to consume things in a different way. So this is having
Well, that's interesting.
a sort of brain fade effect. And I do wonder about that, because, you know, a lot of great art is done by people who are kind of disconnected.
Yeah.
A little
Reclusive.
bit. And, you know, like Christopher Nolan doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a Facebook, obviously. No Twitters, no nothing. He just goes to people's places. He works with these good people and he thinks up good ideas and he makes good films. And that's all there is to it, because he doesn't need to kind of get caught up in all that bullshit. And I do feel like there could be some merit to that. So I am certainly thinking of at least deleting Twitter off my phone. So that's the next step. But I feel like maybe in some years' time I could go full no social media.
Yeah.
Could turn full
And technotard.
technotard. Yeah.
No, the thing is, though, that we need you. We need you to be out there sharing and liking and, you know, commenting and stuff like that as well. You've got to have a social media presence. And, you know, you ain't Christopher Nolan, man. So, like, you've got to be interacting with people online and building those relationships yourself as well. So, you know, like, I don't think Twitter and Facebook are entirely a waste of time, depending on what you're doing. The only time I reckon it's a total waste of time is like when you're doing things such such as what I've been doing lately, which is arguing a little bit online with people. Like there was totally unfilm related. I joined this Facebook group. It's actually not entirely unfilm related. Actually, I joined this Facebook group called Awake and Aware NZ. Yeah. And they should really call it Asleep and Blissfully Ignorant NZ. Yeah. You know, they believe in like chemtrails and vaccines are bad and you know, fluoride in the water and you know, like total like conspiracy theory, like just nut job shit, you know, like and I was really disappointed and surprised to see that it was happening in New Zealand, and they were all like posting all these like anti-evolution memes, and they were like yeah, oh, if there's millions of these chimpanzees and there's millions of humans, well then where are all the different links in between? And it's like, no, look, guys, we're not descendant from the chimpanzees, guys. Like they're at the end of a different branch of the same tree, sort of thing. You know, we're not descendant from. And I started trying to explain some of this, and next thing you know, I'm having these massive, long-winded arguments about fucking bullshit with retards. Yeah. Now that is wasting your time. Yeah. But the reason why I joined the Awake and Aware group was because I wanted to be able to, I wanted to be able to post our videos in there, like my poetry and the John Key stop bullshitting me and all that kind of lowest common denominator shit. You got to throw that at the dumb people, you know. Yeah. So for example, John Key stop bullshitting me. That one's always popular on pages peopled by dumb people, you know. And so that's why I joined. So it was still related. I was trying to get views. Right. But yeah, then I wasted my time. Yeah, look, it's a dangerous road. Anytime you comment on something and you get a comment back, you're going down a dangerous path. Yeah, well, no, because you do need to be able to, if it's interesting, you need to be able to interact with people and then get them to check out your other videos and check out your things, you know, which is what I always do. You know, I always link them to the next video, you know, and I tell them to add me and all that type of stuff, so that I've then got them there. And once they're on my Facebook, I've got them, you know, then I can share shit to them. Now, have you heard any more from your mate Jimbo? Well, yeah, he did. Did he pop up online? He trolled up online. So yesterday I posted a status. Religion is so stupid. 72 virgins would last me about 24 hours. What are they going to do with the rest of eternity? Hashtag Paris. Yeah. And then, of course, Jim Eaton, who is our former flatmate and a total redneck. Devout idiot. Devout knobhead. Misogynistic, sexist, racist, homophobe, butt closet homosexual, Jim Eaton. And of course he popped up saying, oh, what are you talking about, Harley? I thought you'd be really happy to have more immigrants in the country, you know? See what happened in Paris? You know, let more refugees in, Harley. Because he knows that I think we should let more refugees in. Yeah. Which is a completely separate subject. It is. But so yes, anyway, he did pop up. But speaking of Twitter, you know, I posted that status as a tweet as well. Yep. That's had 0 favorites and 0 retweets. Well, when I read it the first time, I didn't really read the end of it. Right. So it was like, that would take me about 72 thrusts. So that's it. Okay, so then I did a follow-up one, which was, seriously, guys, if I was in heaven with 72 virgins, I'd line them all up. 72 thrusts. I'm all out of virgins. Yeah. And I was like, that could not be construed very well. Once again, no favorites, no retweets. Yeah. Like, well, only because it sounds like you're breaking virgins one thrust. Yeah. Which is technically true. Which is what I'm saying. But exactly what I'm saying. But I guess I'm not. Well, you know, like, do they have to stay virgins? Why can't they be non-virgins? And you still have fun. well, it's not me, man. I didn't write the Quran. Right. You know, like you know, in the Quran or in some offshoot of the Quran, it says that, you know, when the martyrs die, after they blow themselves up, they go to heaven and they get 72 virgins. Yeah. But eternity's a fucking long time. Yeah. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're not virgins for that long. And what happens to them afterwards? Do they get to hang out with you? What if you don't really like them? Well, maybe I think that tweet would have worked better. It's a bit longer though. Yeah. Well, what if you don't like them? Well, you're stuck with them for eternity. But yeah, 0 favorites, 0 retweets. So you can follow me at Harley Neville on Twitter. That's the type of genius that you'll receive. Yeah. Twitter doesn't love me. Now, I do have a listener update here.
Okay.
This is from our friend. Now, I'm not going to say his last name because I can't remember if we're supposed to or not. But his name, we'll call him Jason. And he a wee while back, he got advice from our panel of women
that we've been too lazy
to re-record a new one.
Re-record, even though we now both live with those ladies. They're literally 10 meters away from us right now.
Yeah. They're listening to everything we say.
And judging.
So this fella anyway, he had this problem with this girl who didn't like him back, and they'd hooked up, they'd had sex once or twice, and she didn't like him. And our advice was
play it cool,
play it cool, play hard to get, just don't chase her too hard, and it kind of sounds like she's not that into you anyway.
And just let it slide.
Yeah, and slide in. And then what he did was he said that it went really well. Like, so a wee while back, he gave us an update. Oh, actually, she's started booty calling me all the time, you know, and I'm not that into her anymore, so it's really kind of the perfect scenario. Yeah. She's kind of chasing me, right? And now he wants us to discuss the phenomenon of when it rains, it pours.
Oh, the old classic.
Because I've been spending a lot of time with this particular girl, but since then I've had multiple other ladies decide that they want some of me. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Somehow I have become like catnip to ladies recently. Is it pheromones? Is it because I got that... Her name was Katie. Is it because I got that Katie monkey off my back? Suddenly I've got my mojo back? Seriously, I have 2 different women, not her, sending me dirty pictures and wanting to meet up and fuck. I've got to show you a couple of pictures. Then he sent me a couple of pictures. You want to see the pictures?
Yeah, were they good?
Yeah, not bad.
Let me just...
Let me just... This is an intermission. Nice. Yeah, so she's looking pretty hot. Okay, so, and then he's like, well, this girl, I hooked up with her 10 years ago, and since then she's got married and had a kid, and but now she started wanting to meet up with me, and now we're going to meet up. So basically, he wants to know what's going on with this when it rains, it pours business.
Well, look, it's a very interesting phenomenon. I think that it is a true thing. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And like, this is basically what happens. You know, you like someone, or you break up with someone, and it's a desert out there. It's a wasteland. It's like Fallout 4 out there. And you just, you know, hello, echoing into the darkness, you know, and you're like, what is happening? I don't remember. I thought it was easier than this. Why do all girls hate me all of a sudden? And you're like, oh, no, maybe I'm never going to hook up again. Maybe this is just going to be my life. But then you meet someone, as you always do. And as soon as you meet someone else, and someone else, and someone else. And you get put into these very difficult situations where you have to start making choices because you've got multiple girls liking you. And before you were like, you would like my kingdom for one girl to like me.
my kingdom for a whore.
And you know, and also undoubtedly whoever that you broke up with or stopped seeing moved on much quicker and was with someone while you were out in the wilderness, lost out in the wilderness, getting jealous, getting jelly.
So jelly, you need to be put in the fridge overnight to set.
So, so all you're seeing is how great and amazing their new life is without
on Facebook and Twitter.
And you're like, man, I just need to meet someone nice so I don't have to dwell and think about this. Except it doesn't happen for ages and it's horrible. But then you do meet someone and you're like, oh, great. This is my one shot. Better start being, better get in there, you know, like I better lock it down with this girl. And as soon as you do, another 5 girls materialize out of and I think it's all to do with the desperation thing. Girls can sense desperation in it. It's not anything that you necessarily think you're outwardly projecting. It's like a sixth sense they have. They literally they can sense this. It's like a spider sense for them. A desperation sense. They know if a guy's desperate and they're like, nah.
Yeah.
And if they sense that you're good, things are going good for you, and that that you see that you're chatting with these other beautiful women, they're like, he's cool, he's not a murderer. It seems like a nice girl because that beautiful woman's talking to him. Very, judgmental, but like it's like, look, Ted Bundy. Well, actually, he was a womanizer.
Yeah, he was a very handsome womanizer.
Yeah, but like most serial killers are gonna be the ones in the corner alone, staring at all the other girls, right? So that's you in the wasteland, right? But then when you are chatting with this new,
you're welcome into the fold,
friend, suddenly you're, it's like, oh, okay, no, this cool, okay, well, and also this girl likes him, so there must be something about this guy, that I don't know, that I need to like about him.
So that, in a very long and roundabout way, was you essentially saying, which I think we're in agreement here, you wash off the stink of desperation when you get laid, like you get laid, you lose that stink of desperation around you, and chicks can tell. But then on top of that, there's definitely that element of like, well, if she likes him, he's obviously he's good. He's interesting. He's a good provider, I guess. Like there's something about that guy that's obviously desirable because these other women want him. Yeah. So therefore, I'm interested. Yeah. Nobody wants the fucking leftovers on sitting on the floor, but they're interested in what everyone else wants.
Yeah.
So that's what I reckon it's all about, Jason. I think it's all about got to get rid of that air of desperation / surrounding yourself. Women attract women.
Women do attract women.
And then we've got another listener one here. Now this one, this is what we got here. Hi guys, my girlfriend has mentioned to me that she'd quite like to get a breast augmentation. Mm-hmm. As a non-idiot, I of course told her that she's perfect just the way she is, and she hasn't mentioned it since.
Yeah.
How do I now let her know that I would actually quite like her to have bigger boobs without looking like a complete douche? Thanks, Ellen Parker. P.S. No, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ellen Parker. So it's a tough one. That is a tough one because you would obviously the first thing you're going to say is like, no, you don't need that.
Yeah,
and fair call because you don't want to tell the woman that you love to go and have this risky surgery,
which only lasts 10 years.
And there is
they got to put new boobs in every 10 years.
Right. I don't think I knew that. What do they do with the old ones?
Chuck them out.
Can you keep them?
Yeah.
Put them on your wall?
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, so, like, obviously you don't want your loved one to... I mean, there's inherent risk in any surgery. Like, they could actually die from complications.
This is quite a major operation, even though it's now seen as quite...
common.
Yeah.
It's still a big deal. And, there are a lot of potential side effects to it. Also, I've heard that sometimes... I've also heard, like, that some girls gain quite a lot of weight when they get breast implants, and this was from some girls I knew that had breast implants.
Right,
they were like, yeah, well, once I got the breast implants, I guess I just gained a lot of weight somehow. Don't know, related, not sure, maybe. Just an observation. Maybe I'm not saying weight's a bad thing. And then the other thing I was going to say was, so anyway, how do you do it?
Well, my advice, in all honesty, don't. I say accept your girlfriend's boobs as they are and enjoy them. Now, that's coming from a guy that's not really a boobs man. I'm not really... But even still, like, she accepts your penis...
Well,
right?
Does she? Maybe she wants him to get a penis augmentation.
But that's what I'm saying. You go, look, how I actually kind of want a bigger boob. She's like, well, good. Now that you mention it, I kind of want a bigger cock. So how about you get that operation? I'll get my operation. We're good. But I just think that, the instinct was right, obviously, to say that. And sure, it would be nice for her to have bigger boobs, but you don't want to replacing her boobs every 10 years on your account.
Well, also, what about, like, suddenly she might start getting a lot more attention from, errant males as well.
Well, yeah, ask yourself this as well. Do you want 1,000 extra guys on top of the 1,000 already staring to to be staring at your girlfriend's boobs 24/7. Also, never forget the risk that she starts feeling a lot better about herself and
leaves
confident
you.
and says, you know what, I'm kind of too good for you now. I got these boobs.
So the trick with girlfriends is to definitely keep their self-esteem low, is what you're saying, so that they don't leave you.
No, I'm just saying don't let them get boob jobs, which then put them in another...
Make themselves feel good about themselves.
But they put them in a higher category than yourself.
Yeah.
Because you started off even, you're like,
presumably.
okay, you've got small boobs, you got a bit of a gut, that's okay. No judgments.
A bit of a gut
here.
and a small penis. No judgments here, though.
No judgments here. And now you're trying to upset the balance of it.
Yeah.
So
the girlfriends are...
are...
This conversation attracted the girlfriends. I knew it would. They're looking over our shoulders. Angie in her pink onesie.
So...
Oh, and a broom. Good.
So I would recommend probably just leaving it myself. What about you?
Well, that just doesn't answer the question.
Well,
The
no, it
question
does,
is,
because
how do I he wants her to. Like, you might not, but he says, how do I let her know that I would actually quuld like her to have bigger
What I'm
boobs?
saying is reconsider
it.
and maybe can err on the side of not. Personally. What about you? What's your way to do it then?
Well, look, it's a tough one, but I guess the best piece of advice I've got would be I guess honesty is the best policy. Maybe if you want to talk about it, maybe you'd have to bring it up. You go, hey, remember how you said about those breast augmentation? I saw an article the other day. It was really interesting. Something sort of get the topic.
Article the other day is always a goodie.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Oh, it was actually saying it's getting cheaper and safer every day. Or whatever, some angle like that, just to get the conversation started again, and then you just insert that wee idea into her head and basically go from there.
And I guess you would have to just phrase it like, look, your boobs are super cool, but bigger boobs would also be really cool.
You can never have too much of a good thing.
Yeah. And so, if you're still thinking about doing it, maybe you should, because, why not? It's your body, and if you want to do that, then you should.
Something like that. So have a go at that, Alan. So yeah, good luck with that. Let us know how that goes.
If you think this will make you, you feel better and sexier, then go for it. But far be it from me to stand in your way.
All right. So what do you got?
Okay, well, I've just got a couple of...
I'm pretty much out.
I've got a couple of quick things.
Yeah.
I did watch James Bond the other day.
Yes.
SPECTRE. It was pretty good. Not as good as the last one, Skyfall.
I don't enjoy the Bond films.
Well, it was good in the sense that it was, quite lacking in CGI-tis, which they all are, to be fair, or the most recent ones anyway.
Well, not that one directed by the New Zealander. They had cars flipping over and sliding on their roof on the ice, and then using rocket packs to flip back over onto their wheels.
Right.
What's the name of that New Zealander?
Yeah, that's Die Another Day.
Yeah.
That's Lee Tamahori.
Yeah, that's the one.
And that is known as one of the most ridiculous Bonds.
Right.
Well, that's got an invisible car.
That was the one that put me off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, since then, he's out, Pierce Brosnan's out, and you've got the new guy, Daniel Craig, who is a much cooler, more suave, more kick-ass, more like,
less of an English caricature.
Because, look, you look at Pierce Brosnan, he's kind of a pretty boy. He couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. He's a British dandy. He's not James Bond material, really. And he'd be more suitable sipping high tea at Her Majesty's fucking 10 fucking Browning Lane or whatever the hell it is,
Browning Street,
Downtown Abbey, than he would be James Bond. And so here comes this new guy who looks like he could legitimately kill you. He's in good shape, and he's still got a few quips here and there, but he keeps them to a minimum. Really pretty. I think there was literally 0 quips in this one.
Right.
And so, I thought it was pretty cool, because basically this one, because the whole thing about rebooting these franchises. Everything's being rebooted. And that's what they kind of did with Casino Royale, not what you're talking about, Die Another Day.
Yeah, well, I also hated Casino Royale because it had that big long sequence where they're playing poker. And I was like, fuck, this is boring. Like, I don't want to watch James Bond playing poker, man.
It's called suspense, Harley.
The suspense was whether or not I was going to turn it off, like my finger hovering above the fucking off button.
Some people enjoy gambling. So anyway, but the whole thing was kind of like distancing itself from the old James Bonds.
Yeah.
And this one has definitely some cool nods to the James Bond of old. They have a villain come back from one of them, and they just have some sort of references, and even like the stuff that's going on is just a bit more kind of classic James Bond. They introduced a classic James Bond, which I feel is good, because sometimes these dark, gritty reboots can just get a bit too fucking dry balls at a certain point. And it's just like, come on, man, you have a bit of fun with it. Having said that, do have one criticism. This is a very moderate spoiler, but there's one scene where James Bond tries, like, someone's been kidnapped, and he's trying to get him back, right? Except he's trying to get him back flying an airplane, and they're in a car. Now, there's no explanation about where he got this airplane from.
Right.
He's in a country that he didn't really have any connections or any setup with, so he would never have that plane. But this plane just pops into the sky, and he's in it, gives a little salute to the people driving, and then he's like, and his policy for stopping this kidnapped person is to drive the plane straight at the car that has the person in it. Now, this is not going to end well for anyone. Okay? You cannot stop a car with a plane. I mean, yes, you can stop it by crashing into it and you both dying a horrible fiery death.
Yeah.
But in all of the kind of crazy things that James Bond does that I'm like completely on board with, I was like, this is ridiculous. How did you expect this was going to end, James?
Yeah.
Were you just going to ask them to pull over and then you were going to drive another 10 miles to the nearest runway?
Yeah.
And then loop back around? Like, what was going to happen here that you thought that... Oh, and even like kind of driving a plane, like playing chicken, driving a plane at a car. What with the person that you're trying to save? You're just gonna behead them or something.
Yeah.
This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. So that was my only beef with the James Bond.
Well, that sounds like exactly the type of thing I'd hate.
Yeah, it would be for sure.
Now, what's this Facebook freebooting?
Well, Facebook freebooting is a kind of a terminology you lose. I sent you an article about this morning, which you clearly have not looked at.
No, you didn't tell me it was for the podcast.
I did. It says for the podcast.
Oh, well, you must have... I don't know when you said it.
You need to check this out.
Yeah.
I sent it at like 4 a.m. this morning.
Well, the only one I had just says watch this or something, but I thought it was just about a vlogger.
Yeah, it says watch this for the podcast.
What's it all about?
So anyway, it's basically the idea that Facebook just recently announced that it had reached 80 billion video views. And they sort of were like, wow, 80 billion, that's amazing. But it's actually not amazing, and it's not good, and it's something that we should think about. Firstly, in that 80 billion, a clip only has to play for 3 seconds, right? Also, most clips are set to automatic play.
Yeah.
So that means that if you're scrolling through your feed and not looking at these videos, all those ones, if you're just lingering on something below or above a video, that is going to count as you watch those. So you're saying that, and that counts for most of them, really. So actually, most of those 80 billion are being done automatically, accidentally, and not being looked at.
Yeah.
So as a stat, it's very misleading.
Yeah.
Secondly, there's this issue that Facebook doesn't have, it's not monetized like YouTube is. And so what's been happening is essentially someone on YouTube, a kind of a YouTube content provider, which we are, will put something on YouTube which will be monetized for them. Then someone will rip it and put it on Facebook. And because Facebook's algorithm favors videos that have been uploaded to Facebook, that video is the only one that's seen.
Yeah.
And then essentially, it'll get 300,000 views on YouTube, and then it'll get 3 million views on Facebook. Except the only person that's getting ad money is Facebook.
Yeah.
And so basically there's all these videos that are being put up illegally. Facebook is making huge amounts of money on those ads that they just have up, constantly. And then they make it, and when YouTube, you write in, things get taken down really quickly. One of these content providers said, it took weeks for his one to get taken down, and only after multiple subscribers sent in, hey, at Facebook, this is illegal, why is this still up? And he'd gone through the entire procedure of showing that this was content, and they'd ignored him. And by the time that it was finally taken down, it had 19 million views, which, if he'd got that on YouTube, would have been a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if Facebook video didn't exist, when you share a YouTube video on Facebook, it's still not going to get 19 million views. It's not quite the same. Facebook videos get more views than YouTube videos on Facebook.
That's true. But when this is content for Facebook, but, and Facebook is making money off it.
Yeah.
They should really be sharing that with the content creators.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be great. But I still think that there's something to be said just for this idea that, you should upload all of your videos to both YouTube and Facebook so that you're the one getting 19 million views on your Facebook. But then you put in the link in the description, you put, hey guys, find me on YouTube. Here's my YouTube link. Here's my MySpace account or whatever. And make sure you click like and all that stuff. And it's kind of just a big billboard for your content, which still does lead back to your YouTube. And if you've got 19 million views and next to it says subscribe to my YouTube channel, a percentage of people are going to do that, and that is going to lead to monetization through people watching your YouTube videos on your channel.
But it would lead to much more monetization if that was an embedded YouTube video.
Yeah.
And which would lead directly back to the YouTube.
But it's not the same, because you can't click like on a YouTube video on Facebook. You can click like on it as you would on a post, but when it then disappears down the news feed and it's gone, whereas a Facebook video, you click like on it and every single like is kind of recorded, and so you'll see a video and it's got 50,000 likes on it, and every one of those 50,000 people that's clicked like, it's then shown up in their friends' news feeds as a result. It's a different, it works differently than with a YouTube video.
Yeah, but it's also basically strangling monetization, except for Facebook itself on videos. And I definitely did not really consider that.
Yeah, I knew about it, and it didn't really bother me, because I was like, well, look, that's their platform, that's how they want to do it. They, it's not really taking away from the organic views you're getting on YouTube. All it's doing is taking away from the amount of views you're going to get through Facebook, and that's their platform. And you're not going to get 19 million views on a YouTube video on Facebook anyway, or via Facebook anyway, whereas you are going to get 19 million views on a Facebook video on Facebook. So it's either 19 million people see it or 300,000 people see it on YouTube.
Yeah, but maybe it's more like 19 million people see it, or 1 million people see it just on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe.
And that would be more beneficial right now until Facebook starts cutting in these content creators. And also, when you talk about linking back and all that stuff, that's not what's happening, because these videos
are being ripped by other people.
Which
is why you need to upload it yourself to both Facebook and YouTube.
And the tags are being removed, which links to you or even suggests that you made it.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that develops.
That's why we should also put watermarks on our shit.
But I do certainly... the problem with a watermark is it'll be cropped out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want
it's just one more piece of work, though, for whoever's ripping it, you know?
But you don't... But that's the thing, is a crop is very easy to do as part of that thing, unless you put the watermark in the sort of the middle. And in which case...
detracts from the experience.
But even then, they'll probably just blur it out.
Yeah. I think that... I don't know how much they really give a shit.
Well, they're probably quite a lot if they want to take credit for it. But anyway, so that's something that we need to think about when we have more views.
Well, look, I think that might be the end of the show.
Yes.
But we will definitely be uploading our videos to Facebook and YouTube so that we are the ones getting the 18 million, not someone else who rips it and puts it up themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the thing. It's like even, things that have got 5,000 views or 2,000 views on Facebook. Is it really okay for Facebook to be taking all of that?
Well, it's that, or we don't get 5,000 views.
Yeah.
People can see our content or they can not see it. And I didn't do this for the money. I want people to see our content. That's my main driving force. So I'd rather 19 million people see it and I gain nothing than 1 million people see it.
Well, no, 1 million people.
Well, 1 million would be alright because you still get $1,500
if you got paid. Yeah.
Yeah, but a few 100,000 or 50,000 on YouTube, I'd rather 19 million see it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's all about getting our content out there.
Well, only if it's provable as our content.
Well, yeah, but it's still my face if I'm acting in it.
Well, that's
it's still that's still going to help. But anyway, that is the end of the show.
One final recommendation.
Okay.
Tales of Halloween. It was just Halloween. There's a new film out called Tales of Halloween. You can get it on Vimeo. I met the director of it's an anthology. So it's kind of like the old movies Creepshow. And it's like an anthology horror. And there's a lot of great shorts in it, like really interesting, funny shorts. A lot of great directors. I met one of the directors and producer, Mike Mendes, when I was over in the LA Scream Fest. He was a super nice guy. But if you like horror and you like sort of those sort of anthology like short stories, like sort of Twilight Zone, Amazing Tales sort of thing, this is perfect. So I'm thinking of you, Mr. Neem Hegarty, when I shout that one out. But I think it's very cool, and I recommend people check that one out.
All right, so thank you for listening. Go and watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. It's on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating for this podcast on iTunes.
Make it a double bill. Tales of Halloween, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. Download them both. Cheap.
And add me on Facebook, Harley Neville.
And don't add me on Facebook because I'm not on it. See you later.
See ya.
The result of the climax.
It's a light year long spaghettification, but your black hole's my destination. I was attracted by your big ass gravitation, then I came so quick like time dilation. My balls have reached their infinite mass. I'm gonna fill up your marinera's crevasse and get yourself a chick, cause panspermia can pass. I give the gift of life, it's been living in my pants. And like a Mars rover, I'm full of curiosity. Nothing's out of bounds, yeah, that's my new philosophy. You should see me now, I'm the space aristocracy, so prostrate yourselves, cause there ain't no fucking stopping me.
The final frontier, the next generation. This is a song about fertilization, or maybe it's about the cosmos and shit. Before I like a second, we'll do our bit.
I'm the white trash, suburban hover. I'm the white trash, suburban supernova. I'm special, you're more of the regular. Hit you with a big bang, blew up the whole nebula. Captivating divinity when spitting a verse, contemplating the infinity of the universe. Warp the fabric of time with my universes. Crush worlds with words from alien curses. I'm a spaceship in total freefall. My 16 bars give you total recall. Blue sky on Mars, my dreams have no equal. I'm post-apocalyptic, no people. That means I'm light years ahead of you. I'm out of this world, extraterrestrial. I'm shining super bright, extra celestial. Coming super hard, extra set of testicles.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.